The KwaZulu-Natal province is yet to receive new blue trains. The Passenger Rail Agency says this is due to the recent floods that saw significant damage to infrastructure. The agency estimates it needs over 2 billion rand to restore services. eNCA's Dasen Thathiah is in Durban as we continue our focus on the state of rail services in the country. Good morning, Dasen. You know, one could say it's understandable this type of a delay now insofar as infrastructure being damaged by floods. But really, were they on schedule just before the floods?
Well, the floods have certainly exacerbated the situation, but if we were to be honest here, Prasa in KZN, like in other parts of the country, was also struggling with other issues. Here particularly, we had the issue of vandalism, which we've dealt with in the past. And we've covered extensively as well, and that was relating to cable theft, parts of the tracks being stolen, and all of these other issues which have ultimately made the situation a lot more difficult for commuters and ensured that sometimes these trains would not run on time. Right now we're at the KwaMashu station. It would normally be a little bit busier than you see it now, but the reason why it's so quiet is because, as you mentioned, with the flood damage, these trains are not running as frequently as they did in the past. So on a normal day, prior to the floods, you would get about 5 trips that would happen between here and the Durban station. That's a busy route. So it takes people from this area to the city centre, and that's where they would go to work and other, other reasons why they would visit the city centre. But at the moment, there's only a train running here at about 6:30 in the morning, and another one which assists them to get back in the afternoon at about 4:30. But it's had a significant impact here and in other parts of Durban because this was possibly the cheapest mode of transport for anyone that needed to make this trip daily. I mean, this trip that I'm talking about now costs in the region of about 7.50 Rand from here to the city centre, and that's a fraction of the cost of what a taxi would cost you. So I think there's a general sense that there needs to be faster movement to get these trains running again. But one also has to bear in mind that, like the rest of the rest of Durban and other parts of the province, the damage was that severe that it has set back any plans to improve this current rail network that we are seeing here.
Just when you say that there were at least 5 trains on this route, right now we're seeing at least 1. Is it because the trains themselves, the other 4, were perhaps damaged, or what? Because the infrastructure clearly is still there if we're talking about the tracks for that particular route. So what has happened to the other trains? Why is there no frequency of trains operating on this route?
Well, that's just it. So some of the actual trains themselves, I'm told, are damaged. But beyond that, it's the reason why this route that I'm talking about is running now is because this is one of the busier routes, and there was a need to change the system in place to make sure that that train operates during these times. And as time goes, as they progress and as they continue to rebuild this infrastructure, I mean, you spoke about the cost, it runs into billions of rands. When they eventually get this going, they will bring these routes back up and make sure that all of the necessary items are put into place to ensure that that happens. This is only one part of Durban where these train lines are starting to run again. You would have seen that during the floods, in areas just outside of Durban, their tracks were completely destroyed. And part of that now being because of the floods, but in the past we've also seen vandalism contribute significantly to why those trains are not running.
Dasen, I'm actually going to have to cut our conversation, your interaction, very short. We have to go to another breaking story, Eskom, but thank you very much. That's our reporter,